So, a couple of weeks ago we went through all of the trophies that the first Spider-Man had to offer, and with the recent release of Spider-Man 2 as well, I knew that I couldn't move on to that without first covering Spider-Man Miles Morales. This game sees Peter taking a little bit of a wee break from Spider-Manning and leaving it all up to the new Spider-Man in Miles Morales. How will we find the game as we grind all of the trophies and take on the Tinkerer? Well, there's only one way to find out, so don't forget to like and subscribe for more trophy and achievement grinds in the future, and let's begin! Welcome to the Achievement Grind! The game begins with Miles being a friendly neighbourhood bloke, helping sofa movement and appreciating the local artists. However, before we can get too comfortable, Peter needs a hand with the movement of some of the villains from the last game. As you can imagine, things quickly go astray when one of the containers breaks and unleashes the Rhino. The Rhino, as you can imagine, immediately goes on a rampage, and he's pretty tough to stop. This is not the nice start to the holidays that we planned, so we need to act quickly and stop this juggernaut. We eventually grab onto this hulking tank and now have to steer him through a shopping centre, avoiding babies and Christmas decorations. Coming to the end of this chase sequence, we also unlock our first trophy, Rhino Rodeo, for riding Rhino, which isn't exactly how I wanted to phrase that, but hey, here we are. The chase continues for a moment before Rhino decides that explosives are the way to go. Unfortunately, Peter is rather intensely injured in the scrap, and if this Spider-Man can't take him down, we don't have much of a chance, do we? Well, wrong. We have a fantastic chance as we gain the abilities to tase him with our fists. With the Venom Punch unlocked, we make short work in snipping the horn off this rather unique villain. When Rhino is down for the count, Peter wakes up and Roxxon arrives to the scene. We then meet Simon Krieger, the CEO of Roxxon Energy. We've just had this little party in their back garden, but they're not too mad as they were going to tear it down anyway, so we've just saved them a job. I sure hope that Troy Baker doesn't become a villain or anything. That'd be awkward. He seems really nice. Anyway, he takes care of the Rhino for us and we head off for the evening. While sharing a pizza on a very cold rooftop, Peter then drops the news that for the next couple of weeks he's going to be on holiday. Miles is nervous to the idea, however with great power comes the great chance that I'm sure we'll be fine with only one of the Spider-Men in the city. But with that, Peter then gives us a gift before taking his leave. Now, like the first game, this start is great. I don't know how Insomniac do it, but my god, they really know how to open their games. So I was already feeling it and was so happy to be back in New York. Anyway, time to see Ganke. Ganke is Miles' best friend, another tech wizard who is essentially Ned. We open Peter's gift and it turns out to be a very ill-fitting new suit. I honestly would prefer the other one, however, a gift is a gift and we don't want to seem ungrateful for Peter's second-hand Spidey hand-me-downs. With our new suit on and us once again swinging throughout the city, we unlock the next trophy as well, a gift from Pete. So considering how new to this we are, we decided that our first port of call should be to go through Peter's holo-training scenarios. It's essentially the exact same as the Taskmaster challenges from the last game, however this time we fight faceless holographic goons. You know how this goes now folks, and in fact for the sake of ease I decided to just get them all done now and out of the way with, so that there's less to clean up later, and honestly I like these challenges, they're fun. Now just like last time, they are quite easy to do, just do what they ask in a certain amount of time, so there's nothing really for me to explain here. Really quickly though, once again there are three types: traversal, combat and stealth, and we don't unlock stealth until a little bit later on in the game. But for completing our first traversal challenge in spectacular fashion, we also unlock the trophy Launch, Swing and Dive. To celebrate this trophy we then crafted a new suit mod, and surprise surprise, by doing this also unlocked Mod That Suit. And honestly folks, you won't believe it, we're not done with the trophies yet in the slightest. The next we got was for getting spectacular on a combat challenge as well, unlocking Punching Pixels. Now the next challenge we had was to take care of all of the enemies without getting hit a single time. Now this didn't seem tricky enough to me, so I decided that here I would also get the 100 hit combo trophy as well. I mean, it seemed as good a place as any to get it, and what could go wrong, honestly? Ooh. No, I got hit! 10, 2. No! Ah, no! Please! Well, let's try that again, but let's do it better. Now, honestly, this did take a couple of attempts, as a stray bullet or a random pipe would hit me often. But eventually, we got that delicious 100 hit combo and unlocked the next trophy, the rather incredibly named 100x combo. Nice. To celebrate, we also unlocked the first of our visor mods. And as you would no doubt expect with that, we also unlocked yet another trophy for it, Look with Better Eyes. Now, with all of the traversal and combat challenges done, we're going to have to wait, as I said, for the stealth, so back to the story for now. At the Roxxon headquarters in Harlem, we find a rather intimidating orb. And no, it's not the Las Vegas sphere, this is the Newform reactor. Newform is a new, clean and sustainable energy source that can power the entire city with a single canister for the next 500 years. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of that unbelievable claim though, it appears that Roxxon has been broken into, and the people that broke in are rather technologically savvy, if you can't tell by the weapons that appear as if from nowhere. However, they all go down the same. Punches, kicks and webs to the face generally does the trick. With the foes on the floor, we then find out what they were looking for in Newform shipments. We can figure out why later though. Now it's just time to have a lovely meal with our mum and Ganke. Not our dad though, Miles' dad's dead, I'm sure you remember. But Miles' dead dad aside, we have another guest at the table, Finn, our childhood best friend, and it has been years since we've last seen her. Through a delicious meal we also find out that Finn is now studying biotech, which proves that she has at least a couple of brain cells. But things get a touch awkward when her brother is mentioned. No idea why, but we continue and have a lovely evening. Back to Spidey business though. Ganke tells us about his new app that allows people to report crimes and ask for help much easier than before. And we already have our first customer, our own uncle. He doesn't know that we're Spider-Man, but since he needs help, we crack on. Apparently the trains aren't running like they're supposed to as somebody is interfering with them, so we need to go and figure that out. On the way to sort these trains out, we also find out that the purple glowing freaks are part of a group called the Underground, and somebody called the Tinkerer is their leader. Anyway, we find the interfering signal and put a stop to the Underground member causing the kerfuffle. Here we also find a crate of Underground tech. We can scavenge what we find in these boxes for upgrades. However, for a trophy later down the road, we actually need to find them all. And yeah, there are a couple, so we'll be grinding those throughout the story. Now, even though we have the sensor back online and the trains running again, the Underground don't care too much for our interference. So instead, they plant bombs on the train tracks. Definitely a means to an end, but with our fast Spidey reflexes, we're able to take care of them and get back to our uncle, who apparently has a present for us, a train pass. And he's even got the name right. Yeah, he knows. Even though he doesn't get on that well with the rest of the family anymore, he still says that he is here for us if we need him. And honestly, why would we need help from a loser with no powers and no super soup? Anyway, with our first side mission complete and us doing Uncle Aaron a huge favour, we also unlock the trophy, the Harlem Express. But with that, we continue finally onto the stealth challenges that we have now just unlocked. Honestly, they are just as easy as the ones that came before it, so we push through and save the holographic date like the hero we are. With the first done and another spectacular rating, we also unlock the next trophy, Dodging Light. But during our progress on unlocking the final challenge, we also managed to stealthily kidnap 100 enemies, unlocking yet another trophy and Nowhere to Hide. And the trophies, I'm afraid, don't end there, folks, as we have a couple more challenge related to unlock. Next, we complete all of them, simple and quick, but by completing the last stealth challenge, we unlock Spider Training Complete. With them all taken care of, Peter thinks it's finally time for the proper last challenge, the ultimate test. A battle so fierce and devastating that it may shake up the fabric of every piece of Spider-Man media for the rest of eternity. I'm only joking, here we just fight a holographic version of the Vulture. It's the exact same boss as the Vulture fight in the last game, and honestly, I was a little let down by this, but my feelings aside, we pluck this old bird of its decaying feathers, and now with every single challenge completed, we unlocked Pete's first villain. So with that, time to carry on. Next, we have a meeting with Finn again. She's going to be sticking around a while, so we thought a nice catch-up would be in order. Here we reminisce on the trophy that we won for the science competition, and it also comes evident that Finn is not right. Something is bothering her, but she isn't willing to tell us yet. We can't get too focused on that, however, as it's time to attend our mum's campaign rally. The entire neighbourhood is out and celebrating, including Haley again, the local deaf artist that is incredibly talented and that Miles has a thing for. The start of the rally begins and Rio calls out Roxxon for not saying anything really about Newform. However, Rio's rally is cut rather short by the Tinkerer, who says that the Underground will stop Roxxon. Simon Krieger is a killer and Newform is not what everybody thinks it is. Shocking, I know. However, with that, a bunch of Underground and Roxxon come to have a scrap. Not only that though, apparently something is happening on the bridge, and by something I mean a massive explosion that needs some spider assistance ASAP. On the bridge we then see the Underground stop a Newform truck to steal their contents. This is also the first look at the Tinkerer in person, who gives us a rather hefty kick. They begin to steal one of the tubes, however our electric powers make everything go a little bit pear-shaped, even revealing that the Tinkerer is Finn. I know, right, nobody saw that coming at all. Our powers cause the entire truck to explode, with Finn still getting getting our hands on now the only tube left of that delicious energy. With the bridge falling apart, we need to act quickly to save the unfortunate fool stranded on it. And honestly, this entire sequence is really clean. Insomniac nail pretty much everything. However, their cinematic shots are next to none in my opinion. They are fantastic, and here we also unlock the next trophy hanging by a thread. But with that as well, we also unlock the ability to camouflage ourselves for a short period of time, which is actually quite handy considering that Roxxon now deem me as a target and go to shoot me. But they can't shoot what they can't see. With so many new powers and so many new villains to defeat though, it's time for a classic montage of Ganke and Miles creating a brand new suit. And finally, Miles looks like Spider-Man. I mean, the cutscene even has cinematic pigeons, what more could you ask? Anyway, with some serious story underway, I thought it was best to quickly cover some more of the miscellaneous trophies. The first was for visiting our dead dad, who if you didn't know, was dead, but when we go to his grave we unlock Never Give Up. We then swing around for a little while until we find one hell of a statue. By inspecting Stanley's statue as well, we also unlock Best Fries in Town. Only a couple more to go now, folks. Now, whilst trying to find all of the time capsules around the city, we found one on a boat. Now, for some reason when our feet touch that boat, we unlock I'm on a boat. And that says we're on a boat, not a lonely island or something. But next, for finding all of the time capsules as well, we also unlocked Urban Explorers. For the next couple of hours though, folks, we just carried on with the grind. In fact, I wanted to tackle every app request. Now, this did take a couple of hours as there was a decent bit to do, but like an absolute champion, we breezed through them all. Eventually, with everything completed, we're told that we have a present waiting for us. Inside is not only a new suit and a pretty clean suit at that, but also the next trophy, of course, 5-star review. Now back to the story proper. With Miles finding out Finn's secret, we decide to try and find her in her brother's old building. Now, we do find some evidence, a Roxxon ID of Finn with a fake name, as well as a list of people that worked on Newform. Now, the problem is that most of the team that worked on it are very sick, including Finn's brother Rick. Everything is properly unearthed though, as we soon find a hidden room, and on a computer inside of it are videos of Finn and Rick together. Rick says that Krieger now knows that Newform is making people very sick, and it's not being properly tested. But now, since that Rick has a really bad health problem, it's pretty much game over. Their plan is to destroy the reactor so that the project is ending, as Rick is the only person capable of replicating the Newform. After that though, another video shows that Finn is clearly not doing well. Her phone got damaged and didn't upload the video as intended if Rick didn't make it, and make it, he did not. Rick died, hence why Finn is pretty anti-Roxxon. With enough information though, we take our exit and decide to try and find Finn's phone in the original base of Roxxon. If we find that, we can take Roxxon down. Once inside, things go pretty smoothly until the Prowler makes his appearance. And when I say Prowler, we mean Uncle Aaron. This is the reason why he doesn't get on with the rest of the family, being a criminal and all. He tries to get us to leave, but since we're pretty damn convincing, he tags along instead. Moments later, we then overhear Krieger, and he turns out to indeed be the piece of garbage that we thought he would be. Krieger then announces that they have no more Newform. The only canister left in existence is the one that Finn's got, so he's not too happy to say the least. And to celebrate the fact that we called that Krieger was going to be a bastard, we decided to treat ourselves with some new upgrades. And when we buy our 10th, we also unlock the next trophy in Kit Bash. Making our way through the facility more, we eventually find a room with a rather large reactor in it, but more importantly, Finn's phone down at the bottom. On the phone is a video of Rick and Finn trying to blow up said reactor like they threatened to. As you can imagine, it doesn't go well. Krieger appears to gloat about winning as he turns the reactor on. Rick decides that the best thing to do is give the electricity a lovely warm hug, and with that, he is gone, reduced to atoms. However awful this is to watch, it is the perfect evidence to bring Roxxon down for good though. However, Miles doesn't feel comfortable leaving just yet. He decides that he needs to finish the job, and with our new electric powers, the idea is to absorb the entire reactor's energy, then rendering it useless. The plan works to a degree, and we absorb all of its power, however, not without a cost, as it gives us a dodgy tummy and everything around us is getting fried, including the phone. He expels some of the energy and we're okay to carry on for now. Another fight later next to the Prowler, we manage to escape the facility, and our next mission is to find Finn. Also, leaving the facility, we unlock the next trophy, the core of the problem. Now, that may be the next story mission, but it is not our next mission, as by completing the last, we have now just unlocked some more Roxxon bases that we must storm and stop like we just did. Honestly, this didn't didn't take too long at all as there's only 6 to do, and they're pretty much identical to the basis of the previous games. However, along the way we also unlocked another trophy. During one of the heated scraps, we defeated our 100th enemy with our venom attacks, which I must also say is a really stupid name to give his electric powers, considering, you know, Venom is one of the biggest Spidey icons, and it just made it really confusing for me, especially in the second game. But by using them to knock out our 100th enemy, we also unlocked Overcharge. For the next base, I then decided to give myself a challenge. Well, in the name of a trophy, of course, and go through the entire thing without alerting anybody. So we took our time and used our webs in the most efficient way. Thankfully, it worked a treat, and when we silently took down the last goon for completing a base without being detected whatsoever, we also unlocked Never Saw It Coming. Realising there was also a really easy miscellaneous trophy as well that I'd missed so far, when we left that base we then perched on a pipe, and by adding a sticker and changing the lighting in photo mode, we also unlocked the trophy JJJ would be proud. We're not done with the bases however, so we continued the same as before, and roughly 10 minutes later, when the last base was drained of juice, we also unlocked a trophy for completing them all in under their noses. By this time folks, I was really happy with the progress that we were making. It honestly didn't take as long as I would have thought to get to this point, and I think my only gripe with this game is that it really feels like DLC to me, and considering it costs the exact same amount as the previous game with tons more content, I was a little upset by that. However, we carried on as normal. We eventually managed to contact Finn and go for a lovely cup of something hot together. Finn says that there are things on her mind, and she slightly opens up about being part of the underground. And since Miles' current plan is to infiltrate the underground by asking Finn to join, she very quickly accepts, and we take the perilous path to prove ourselves to the group. Basically, we have to walk across a crane. However, they don't realise who they are dealing with, so we complete it and we're a part of the gang. The underground is based inside Fisk's old tower, and inside we see everything. The matter swords, the weapons that they've been working on, a huge amount of money, and even demon tech that they're stealing from. So we give an excuse to Finn on needing to leave, but nanoseconds later we return as Spidey on the scene. We clear out the lobby of any imposing underground members and find a secret path to take us even further into the complex. In here we overhear Finn say that she has moved the new form, and that our electricity has messed with the structure of it. Sounds complicated, so for now we just take pictures of the labs and take our leave. Once we swing out of there, we also unlock True Deception. Once again though, for now we just settled on some more side missions and crimes, and as you no doubt guessed it, we have a couple more trophies to go through as well. The next was for performing a Venom Jump and Venom Dash on the same unlucky bastard. Once he had been pasted into the floor, we unlocked Up and Over, before then using Venom Dash to throw an enemy into a group of 3 or more, also unlocking From Downtown. Next we unravelled an entire Kingpin conspiracy in Harlem. It's not as complicated as it sounds, as it's just a side mission that Haley gives you, but once completed we get a scarf as a reward, and we graciously accept it, as well as our next trophy, Come at the King. Now for every crime that you tackle in the city, there are a couple of optional objectives that you can do for some extra rewards. It could be to web up enemies in a certain way, or do the entire crime without taking damage. However, for completing every single bonus activity within these crimes, you guessed it, another trophy is unlocked as we gain Crime Master. We're not done with the trophies yet though folks, as whilst cracking on with the underground bases, we also went invisible and gave somebody a bloody good taste of heal. Since that was the 50th person we defeated whilst camouflage, we then unlocked Invisible Spider. That wasn't the only trophy this base brought though either, as once the bad guys here had been wiped out, we found the last of the underground supplied caches as well. When we strip it of everything worth a damn, we unlock Salvager. Now we have one more trophy before we head back to the main campaign again, and it was for simply completing the last of the underground bases, identical to the Roxxon ones and the ones that came before. When we swung out of there on a job well done, for completing them all we unlocked Underground Undone. Anyway, that was a lot of side salad. Let's continue to the meat and potatoes of the game, shall we? With an idea of where Finn is keeping the Neuroform, we break our way in for a snoop. Inside we see a ginormous electric silo. Obviously that's where the new form is, so we power it up and get our stealing fingers ready. That's when we also find out though that Finn's plan is to use this new form to explode Roxxon Plaza. Since we can't let that happen, we go to grab the new form. However, Finn shows up, because of course she does. She grabs the new form as we begin a rather enjoyable chase throughout New York. Now admittedly, Spider-Man gets his ass absolutely handed to him as Finn uses his ribs to give this railing a trendy new dent. Moments away from death, Miles finally decides to reveal that he is Spider-Man. This of course shakes Finn and she disappears. Wonderful. With this mission complete, we also also unlock the next trophy, Velociskates. Miles is completely shaken by this, so we go to our uncle for a touch of comfort. His rather nice idea is to simply make music. The Prowler and our dad, who is dead, were taking sounds from around the city to make their music. The next side missions have us go around the entire city trying to match the sounds to the sources. It's honestly quite bloody tricky, but we eventually get the hang of it. We say goodbye to Uncle Prowler and go to find all the sounds for another trophy. As I said, it can be fairly tricky these, as some sounds are really obscure. However, we of course finish them with great pride and success. When we find the last, we unlock the next trophy, Deep Cuts, and finally get to hear the music that dear old dead dad wanted to make.
Use the sounds.
Wow. That is shit! Anyway, after that we finally convince Finn to have a chat with us, to clear the air and hopefully make a plan that both takes Roxxon down and doesn't get Finn dead or worse, expelled. It appears that death may indeed be on the menu though, as when we're both really about to get into this, an angry red rhino drops in and absolutely demolishes us both. Thanks to his new collab with Roxxon, his new armor is shockproof. So we're sodding useless here. Roxxon Rhino catches us and we wake up in front of Krieger, who gives us a really awesome and not condescending monologue. To get Finn to tell him where new form is, they basically are going to torture us. Or they would if it wasn't for one of my impeccably timed explosions. We absolutely take them out and we and Finn start to exit the facility. On the way, we also find out that of course the reason that they knew we were at that church was because the Prowler told them. He works for Roxxon, but his intentions were never for us to get hurt. He just gave them that to capture Finn. However, they also betrayed him. Not to worry though folks, because once we continue doing everything that a spider can, the next we do is steal a human quietly from the roof. For it being our 25th time, we also unlock the trophy from the rafters, so that cushions the blow for sure. Moments later, we then did it 25 times again in total, this time from a wall position. So by doing that 25 times too, we also unlock climbing the walls. During one of the more quiet moments, we also find a computer that spells out everything that Roxxon are doing wrong. Sickness reports, failed safety inspections, everything you can imagine. So because we found Plot, the anti-Plot Rhino comes back to stop us. He looks great and is quite tricky to take out, so we must start by removing that fancy new armor that he's got. If we get rid of that, one big shock should do the trick. We and Finn peel the armor off of him, and when he's just his regular 12-foot insanely tanky self, we put him into the floor and unlock Exploding Bulldozer. Unfortunately though, as we go back to the computer, we realise that Krieger has changed the specs on the reactor, and instead of just blowing up Roxxon Plaza, if Finn is successful, she will vaporise the entirety of Harlem. But not only that, since Rhino started mentioning dead relatives, and no, I'm not talking about Miles' dead dad, we're talking about Rick, Finn goes to kill him. We're honestly unsure if she's successful, however we stop her as per usual. She then threatens to kill us if we ever see her again, and takes her leave. Back at the house, we are very badly injured, but it also gets worse as Mum returns and comes to realise that we are indeed the friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man. We explain everything to her, and she's actually surprisingly supportive. So we move on the next day. On the way to catch up with Finn and warn her about the spec changes, we get twatted out of the sky by our dear old uncle. He knocks us out and takes us to his super secret Prowler base. He says he wants to protect us, which is lovely. However, we would much rather go and risk our life for Harlem, so we break free and of course get into a fight with the Prowler, where honestly we beat the ever-loving shite out of him. Like, we embarrass this poor bastard. When we land that finishing blow, we unlock family drama and we go back to meeting Finn. As it turns out though, this is the last mission of the game, so it's time to end this once and for all. The mission begins with us breaking into the Science Museum, as we know that's where Finn has gone to go and get some tech. Now the tech that she is grabbing is the piece of equipment that we both made and what won the science fair, an energy converter. Whilst walking throughout, we also get sent back into the past, to better days. It's the day of the science fair and Miles and Finn have gone to go and see their tech on the upper floors. There are some nice little cameos here from spiders and octopus alike, as well as our next trophy for beating Finn in this bizarre rocket minigame. It's easily won, and when won, we unlock competitive spirit. But we eventually find our award-winning work as Rick joins the scene and takes a lovely photo of us to remember. Back in the present, we find the new form as it's being tweaked for the explosive results. Of course, as you'd expect, Finn comes back, ignores our attempt of warnings and leaves with it again. With that, we also unlock the next trophy, Shared History, as well. Chasing after Finn, everything has gone to hell. The Underground are destroying the city, Roxxon are doing the exact same thing, and there's also a blizzard in progress, which just makes everything quite cold and hard to see. But sod that, we're Spider-Man, so we continue as per normal. Whilst we're trying to get peace in the streets though, Finn starts the process, and we almost get shot for our troubles, until Uncle Prowler comes to save the day. Ah, we love character growth. However, enough pleasantries, it's time to stop Finn. We storm her and try to explain again that she is about to nuke Harlem, but Rage has got a pretty tight hold on her and she quite frankly doesn't care. Time for a boss fight. Now, as the Tinkerer, Finn is absolutely insane in the fight. She can create pretty much anything to assist her. Giant swords, huge spinning buzz wheels, the full lot. It's quite cool. However, like anyone who has ever faced us before will tell you though, we don't give up. We of course eventually win and Finn goes down for the count, only then realizing, damn, Miles was right, as it shows that Harlem is getting destroyed. It's not the only thing getting messed up though, folks, as Finn's tech fails her and she begins to plummet to her death. We of course catch her like the hero we are and she says sorry as we both fall to the floor. When we wake up though, we have no time to recover. We have to absorb the energy right now or Harlem is gone. It takes a moment to get there and let's face it, we're in sodding agony. But when we get our hands on it, we manage to steal every single delicious bit of energy that it has. Unfortunately though, the only thing that has changed now is that Miles is the bomb instead, and he is still going to explode, destroying Harlem. Well, he would, but Finn has other plans. She puts some tech on her shoes and sprints us up a building and into the air, far away from anybody. Miles is now safe to release the energy. Only problem is that Finn won't make it. With no other choice though, they say their goodbyes and Miles lets go. An explosion explodes and all we see other than the brightest light in history is Miles plummeting to the floor alone. As you would expect though, Miles has the plot armor that Finn so desperately needed just then, as she is now dead. So Spider-Man puts his mask back on and that's the game. For completing it, we also unlock the trophy Ultimate Sacrifice. We then see on the news that Simon Krieger was also arrested for being a bit of a prick. Peter returns and Miles joins him on top of a building. He says, "Bloody good job, mate. Not too shabby." Maybe not as British as that, but you get the point. With that though, they swing around rather cinematically and that is Spider-Man Miles Morales. Time for some cleanup, folks, and jobs are good uns, so let's begin. Now, for completing the game, we also unlock the postcards, which are a cute thing our mum did for our birthday. We just have to find clues to get to the postcards. And when we get the final postcard, we unlock some audio of our dead dad as well as memory lane. With that, we also complete 100% of the game as well and unlock the next, A New Home. We then use our stun mine web thingies exclusively for a little while, and when we knock out our 50th villain, we unlock Trapped. Afterwards, we then went to the social feed tab in the options and scrolled right down to the bottom. This, without question, was one of the hardest trophies in the game, but by holding down on the D-pad for like 30 seconds, we also unlocked Socially Acceptable. And that's it for the regular game, as the rest we have to clean up in New Game Plus. The first we unlocked on our second playthrough was for breaking 15 items on the back of Rhino at the start of the game. Doing so unlocks us the trophy like a rhino in a china shop. The next two we needed before just finishing the game again were also dead easy. We just had to buy all of the skills and get all of the suits. Now, the reason why we hadn't done this up until now is because New Game Plus unlocks the last two that you need. So with the final skill bought, we unlocked just the beginning, and with the final suit bought as well, we unlocked Ready for Anything. Our last stop, folks, is to just finish the campaign again, and honestly, if you disregard all the side missions, this takes about 3 hours tops. So within no time at all, we saved the day again, and with that gained plus, and finally, the delicious platinum trophy, Be Yourself. Now, honestly, I wasn't too sure on what to expect with Spider-Man Miles Morales. However, I'm thankful to say that I thoroughly enjoyed the game, like a lot. Don't get me wrong, I believe it has its problems, so let's get straight to it as for now, the grind is over. So yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales was again another great treat of a game. It's honestly great, I can't lie. The cinematics, the design of everything is beautiful, the soundtrack is great, the combat and swinging are just as good as the last game. However, as I said, it has its problems. For me, the story is quite lacking a fair bit. And not only that, the entire game really feels like DLC, which I always hate feeling when I'm playing a game. But for me, Finn as the villain seemed quite forced. I just didn't really buy the scenarios that they were setting up really, and I know that Insomniac could have probably done better here. Now again, I didn't hate it, but it was mediocre to me, which is something that I wasn't expecting from Insomniac. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but compared to the first, well, there's no comparison to me. Everything else was great, as you've no doubt heard, but let's just go to the stats. For Spider-Man Miles Morales, it took us a whopping 21 hours to get all 50 trophies that this game has to offer. For my rating, I'm going to be giving it a solid 8.5 out of 10. With the slight lackluster story and the shorter playtime, I think 8.5 is fair, as everything else is simply spectacular. For the difficulty of the trophies, I'm going to say 3 out of 10. It's more or less the exact same type of grind as the last Spider-Man that came before it, so no complaints there. The only thing different is that it's a bit quicker, so it should be achievable for most. You just need to put the time in. For the hardest achievement, I'm going to give it again to the same type of trophy that I gave the last one, and that's the trophy for unlocking all of the suits. I'd say this trophy has you do the most most, and you need to complete the game at least once for it, so sod it, that one, why not? But that's it from me today, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. I cannot wait to get to Spider-Man 2, so hopefully that will be coming in the next few weeks. However, for now, don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as comment what you thought of Miles Morales. I look forward to seeing some of your opinions. Also, folks, of course, I need to shamelessly plug my Twitch, where we go for the achievement grinds live, and it would be very pleasant to have you join us, so feel free. And of course, another massive thank you to all of my Patreon followers and subscribers as well. I really appreciate you amazing people, so thank you so much for the support. But that's enough from me today. You have heard me speak for far too long as it is, so until next week, folks, have a great one, and I will see you all soon. Take care, bye bye for now.